This is Jesse Morrill, College Counselor at Liberty Common High School, and this presentation is for current 10th graders who will be juniors next year at LCHS, and we're going to cover course registration and pre-registration for the 2012-13 school year. So during the presentation in the lab, you will receive a curriculum guide, which includes course descriptions and some other information about Liberty Common High School. You'll also receive a transcript, which we'll go over here in a minute, that will give you some information about where you're at with your graduation requirements. Make sure that you put your name on your curriculum guide. It's important that you hang on to that. It does have a lot of critical information regarding registration, and we do not have enough to replace lost curriculum guides. Now, again, this is the online presentation, but in the lab, while I give this presentation, you will begin selecting your courses for next year in your PowerSchool account. So just so you know kind of what we're doing here today, we are pre-registering for courses, and these are the courses that you will be planning on taking for your junior year. Your curriculum guide does have a lot of great information about the courses that we offer at Liberty, as well as college admissions requirements, graduation requirements, and lots of other information. To give you an example here, as we take a look at the guide, the first few pages are going to include information, like I mentioned, about the school, as well as the graduation requirements, the course subjects and what you take at each grade level, college admissions requirements, etc. So there's a lot of information here that you'll want to look over. But the bulk of the guide includes course descriptions, and I want to go through at least one of the course descriptions here so you have an idea of what you're looking at with this information. So for example, if we look at British literature, you'll see there's some information here that includes credits. 10 credits means it's a year-long course. If it's 5 credits, it's only a 1-semester course. It also lists what requirements might be met with this class. So with British literature, you meet the English British literature requirement, that is a graduation requirement at Liberty. Prerequisites are listed here. We don't necessarily have a prerequisite for British literature, but some classes do have prerequisites, and so you want to make sure you're paying attention to those, especially as you're looking at different electives in some of the higher level math and science courses. And then the grade levels that these classes are offered to are also listed. So British literature is available to students who are in grades 10 through 12. So if you're a 9th grader, you would not be able to sign up for British literature. And then of course a course description is listed below that, just to give you an idea of what is going to be covered in this course. Now, to just talk a little bit about requirements, because some of these have just been solidified this year, you do need 240 credits to graduate from Liberty Common High School. And for you guys who are 10th graders moving into your junior year, when we get to your transcript, you need to make sure that you have at least 120 credits at the end of this year if you plan on being a junior next year. For most of you, if you haven't failed any classes, that won't be an issue at all. But one thing to keep in mind is that at Liberty, you do have to have a C or better to pass a class. So a D or an F does not bear credit. And so if you have any D's on your transcript, you need to understand that those are not credit bearing, and those are classes that you would need to repeat if they were required courses. As we get to course selection, we'll talk about that you must be enrolled in at least 35 credits or 7 classes per semester. We have an 8-period day at Liberty, and so that means that if you take one study hall period, then you would take 7 classes. Some students will take 8 classes with no study hall, but you do have to be in at least 7 per day. Now, if you take a look at the curriculum map here for the different grade levels, you'll see as we look over at 11th grade, many of your core subjects, there are still some requirements. And 11th grade is a fairly heavy year academically, just historically for high school students, because it is that year right before you apply to get into college. You'll notice here we do have a flow chart in your curriculum guide where you can take a look at math, and you can see which math class is going to be the right class for you next. For science, We'll talk about science in a little more depth, but for 11th grade, generally the physics class is your science class, although that's dependent on your math level, and I'll talk about that when we get to the Power School portion. We'll look at your science options. For English is a heavy year for 11th grade. You do have to take American Literature, which is a year-long course, and then you also have to take either composition or AP Language and Composition, and we'll talk about those a little further again when we get to the Power School portion. For history, you're looking at U.S. history next year as a junior, either regular U.S. history or AP U.S. history. Foreign language, most of you will probably continue on with your foreign language. You do need 3 years or 30 credits to graduate, so you definitely are going to want to take a foreign language class as a junior. And then you'll have some room here to make some choices and some decisions on other courses that are available to you as we get into the course selection piece here in Power School. Now, graduation requirements. Now, again, these requirements have been solidified this year, so some of them may look a little different than what you've heard. For some of you, maybe you haven't really seen these before in print. I'm not going to go into great detail here for the online portion, but this is in your curriculum guide. You can take a look at the breakdown of what's required, and you will need to meet all these requirements in order to receive a diploma from Liberty Common High School. So look into the guide, and if you have any questions about any of the requirements, please let me know. Okay, now if we take a look at your transcript, I'm going to pull up a sample transcript here, and you may want to have your transcript with you to kind of follow along. This transcript, again, should look different than what you've seen in the past. So there's a little bit more information here that is helpful for the college admissions process, and so we've changed up the transcript somewhat to include some more information. You'll notice, of course, all of your course history is here with the grades that you've received. Also, any credit that you earned in those courses is listed here. You can see the 5s next to each of these grades. If you look over here at the top right, you'll see GPA. You'll notice that we have a simple GPA, which is just simply your grades divided by the number of credits that you have, and so it's just a plain GPA score. And then the weighted GPA includes any AP courses that you've taken. So if you've taken AP courses, you are getting a little bit of a boost on your GPA, and you can see that in the curriculum guide there's an explanation about this, that you actually get a .002 for each credit that you take for AP. So what that comes out to in a 10 credit class is you would get an additional .02 added to your GPA for any AP class that you take and pass with a C or better. What that ends up looking like GPA wise, it's not a huge boost, but it's a little bit of a benefit there that you see on the score. It also differentiates at the top of the class so that our valedictorian will be someone who has probably all A's and has taken the most AP classes. So we want to honor the level of rigor that you're taking here at the high school. Completed credit hours are listed here as well. We talked about earlier the different breakdowns. You do need to be at least 120 to be considered a junior next year. Keep in mind that any information that's on the transcript is only including up through first semester of this year. So you remember the second semester of this year will go on there in May after final grades are announced, and that's where you'll actually see what your completed credit hours are for the end of the year. Now at the bottom you'll notice this is something you probably have not seen before, the graduation progress table, and what this includes is information about what is required for each of our graduation requirements, and so that's listed here, and then also what you have earned up to this point through December of your sophomore year in terms of graduation credit. And then also a list of what is needed in each of those categories. So obviously you're going to need to complete each of those categories by the end of your senior year, and you want to keep that in mind as you're taking a look at your options for next year. So after looking through your transcript, hopefully you should know what credits you have and what you need to take eventually in order to graduate from high school. So now we're actually going to get into Power School, and we're going to take a look at your course selections for next year. So in order to log into PowerSchool, you're going to go to the LCHS website, and you go right here to where it says PowerSchool, and you'll actually log in there with the numbers that are included on the bottom of your transcript. Now, those login numbers are the same numbers that you log into Naviance with, and so hopefully you're starting to become a little more familiar with that information, and you'll log in the same way then with PowerSchool. Once you're logged in, you're going to get a screen that looks like this, and you've probably seen this before if you've ever checked your grades online. And what we want you to do is come down here on the left side of the screen and click on Class Registration. And what will come up is this menu here of options where we're actually going to have you select your courses. And as we go through here in the classroom, I'm going to make sure that everybody actually chooses 80 credits so that you can save it once. And then once you're done with this, you can go back, talk it over with your parents. You can come back in here and change anything that you want to change. But in order for us to start getting some preliminary information on what courses we need to offer, we want to get information in here right away. So we're going to have you fill it all the way out in the lab here during this registration presentation. Now, if you look at the first category, we have English, and it says choose 15 to 20 credits. So if we click on the pencil, it will show you the English options that are available. And one thing you'll notice is that you'll see some classes that you've probably already taken in here. The reason those are listed is that if you fail the class, so if you received a D or an F in one of the required English courses up to this point, then you're going to need to retake that course at some point in your high school career. So that's why you'll see some classes on here that you've probably already taken, because some students may need to repeat those classes. Now, as far as your junior year and what your options are, everybody has to take American literature, so you would definitely put a check mark there because that is just a required course. And then you have a couple options because you do have to get 5 credits of composition completed in your junior year. Your options would be to take the Composition 2 class right here for 5 credits, or to take AP Language and Composition for 10 credits for your junior year. So obviously, the AP Lang and Comp is a year-long course. Advanced placement courses are much more rigorous. They involve, quite a lot of homework, probably about an hour per night, and you just need to know what you're getting yourself into there. Obviously, the benefits include receiving potentially some college credit if you do well on the AP test at the end of the year. You get that little boost on your GPA, and the rigor is obviously going to help prepare you for college level work, as it truly is like a freshman level college course. So there's a lot of benefits obviously to taking AP, but you need to know what you're getting yourself into if you choose to do that. So again, we would choose either AP Lang Comp or Composition 2, and we go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and select AP for this student. Our next category is History. You need 10 credits here, and it's pretty cut and dry here. You're either going to take AP US History or you're going to take US History, one of those 2 classes. Again, the AP is going to be a little more rigorous. Now, there are some other classes. Again, some students like to take Government before their senior year, although Government sets up pretty nicely for your senior year because you already have a 10 credit history requirement here, but that would be your choice. And then, of course, your classes that you've already taken are listed in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and choose regular U.S. History for this student. And you'll notice if I choose the right amount of credits, I get a check mark here. If I don't, then I'll continue to have this red exclamation point indicating that I need to do something more with that category. With Math, we need 10 credits. And again, you can take a look at the flow chart that's in the curriculum guide. Also, your math teacher is a great resource for helping you to choose the right math course for the next year. And we'll get some information from your math teacher before you're actually registered for courses. But you're going to want to take the next math class in the sequence for you that is going to make the most sense. Now for science, you'll see that you need 10 credits of science, and this is where things get a little bit interesting for juniors. So currently as 10th graders, you've taken chemistry, and everybody moving on from here will need to take physics at some point, and then one science elective course. Now if math-wise you are currently in Algebra 2 and you are going on to either college algebra or pre-calculus next year, then your class will most likely be physics. That would be the class that you would take. Okay, and you'll meet that physics requirement, and then your senior year you would take some type of science elective course. If you are currently in geometry while you're taking chemistry, then math-wise you're probably going into Algebra 2, and Algebra 2 is something that you need to get through before you can take physics. And so we would recommend that you take conceptual physics if you're going into Algebra 2. That would actually meet your science elective requirement, and then your senior year you would take physics. Okay? If that doesn't make sense, please come and see me or you just ask me about it. But generally you're looking at either conceptual physics or physics for your junior year. Now there are other science classes you can certainly sign up for, including the AP courses, but that's the requirement. Now, foreign language. Everybody really does need a foreign language because you need 30 credits in order to graduate. So most of you have 20 at this point. So you would probably go on to the next level. You could choose to take a new foreign language if you decide to start at level 1, but keep in mind that most colleges want to see you through level 3, level 2 or 3 in order to meet their college admissions requirements. So we'd recommend that you move on and go as far as you can with a foreign language. So I'll select Latin 3. Now engineering, okay, now we're getting into some more of the elective options. The engineering classes haven't really changed much from last year. One thing to keep in mind is that if for some reason you did not take this introduction to engineering class, this technical engineering design and problem solving, you probably want to take that as a junior because it is a graduation requirement. So that's one that you may want to get out of the way. For the other courses, you'll just want to maybe read about them and take a look in the curriculum guide so you get a little more information. Keep in mind that if you take an engineering course, one of these 4 upper level courses, you actually get science elective credit for that. So for some students, they may want to take an engineering course instead of a science elective at some point, and that is an option for you. Now, if we look at personal finance, now this is a graduation requirement. You have to take it either as a junior or a senior. Doesn't matter which year you decide to take it in, but you do need to take it in one of those 2 years. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the schedule for this student. For PE and health, if I click here, we have 3 options here. You do need 5 credits to graduate from LCHS in PE or health. And so if you haven't done that already, you may want to take a PE or health class next year. Music and theater. Not much has changed here. There is an advanced musicianship class next year that's a new offering, and the theater offerings have changed slightly, but you'll want to take a look at those and make sure you read about them in the curriculum guide if you decide to sign up for an English or for a music or theater class. For art, not a whole lot has changed here as well. There is an additional class called ceramics as well as AP Studio Art. Those are new options for next year. So if you're interested in one of those, you can certainly take an art class. English electives. Now there are some new classes here in the English electives category, including business and technical writing, comic literature, journalism, and world literature. If you have an interest in English, there are some really cool options there that you might want to read about in the guide. History electives. Similar with the English, we have a Civil War class here, a Vietnam War class, and then there's a class called AP Macroeconomics. Now, this class could be a number of different things. We could offer it just as it is, AP Macroeconomics. It may be just a regular macroeconomics. It could be a concurrent enrollment class through either Front Range or CSU. But if you're interested in taking macroeconomics, then you would sign up for this course knowing that it's probably going to be a very rigorous college level type course. I'm going to go ahead and put Civil War on here. Okay, now computer, nothing has changed here. The only difference would be that you'll see AP Computer Science. We were calling that class AP Programming this year. It's the same course next year, but we've just changed the title to coincide with the AP test. And then under other electives, we have a few new offerings: Ancient Greek, Classical Mythology, Debate. These are all new options for next year. And Basic Speech has been there for a while. I'm going to go ahead and put Debate on here. You'll also notice that Study Hall is here. If you want to take a study hall, first semester study hall would be SH 100. Second semester would be SH 200. If you plan to have a study hall all year, then you would sign up for both of those classes. Now, at the bottom, you want to make sure that you've hit 80 credits. Okay, that's a requirement. You have to get to 80 credits. That can include study halls. And so if you sign up for both study halls, then you would do 70 credits of courses, and the 2 study halls would get you to 80 credits total. But the program will not let you submit your information until you get to 80 credits, so make sure that you do that. Now you'll see the last one here that requires you to do an action is the alternate courses. So if I click on alternate courses, all of the courses that we offer are listed here. The reason that we require that you put in alternate courses is that we are the way that this works, the courses that are in the curriculum guide and that are offered here today will not all be offered next year. Okay, some of these classes will not have enough student interest to merit running a full course, and so we offer you a menu. Particularly with the electives, we're looking to see which ones fill up the most, which ones have the most student interest, and then the administration will determine which classes go, how many sections of everything, and that sort of thing. So we need you to put in at least 2 alternate courses to make sure that we're covering for those types of issues, knowing that some courses will not go. Also, as you probably experienced, we have a small school, which means that we have a lot of times just one section of each course. That leads sometimes to conflicts with your course schedule, and so we need to be able to go to some second and third options if there's a conflict with the courses that you choose. So make sure that you put in at least 2 and maybe more alternate courses here on your schedule. Once we're done with that, we should have green check marks under every category, and then down at the bottom we can click on Submit, and then it will give you a summary here. Now again, remember, this does not mean it's final, so you can come back in here, click on class registration, pull this up with your parents, and again, parents and students, we want you to get together at home and talk over your selections. You can go in and change anything that you want. Just click on the pencil again. It'll bring up these options, and you can make these changes before you come in and see me to finalize your course selections. Okay, if you have any questions with the PowerSchool side, just let me know, and we could certainly walk you through it. But hopefully this is going to be an efficient and user-friendly way for students to register for courses this year. Now, quick reminder just around email and Naviance. I want to just make sure that you're checking your email regularly. I'm talking to students here. And if your email has changed, please change it in your Naviance account. I am sending out emails pretty often to parents and students with college information that might be helpful for you. So if your email address has changed, or if there's another email address that you're checking more frequently, make sure that is the one that is linked to your Naviance account. Again, Naviance is a great college research, career research, scholarship research website where you have your own profile. All of you have been on there at this point. Also, there's a good ACT prep course on there that will probably be more helpful for you next year as juniors, but we want to make sure you're aware that that's available to you. Now, what comes next? So all of this registration information, again, we want you, parents and students, to go over this at home and try and decide some of your course selections here together. Now, in order to finalize your course selections, you need to sign up on my door, where I have a door calendar to have that final meeting where we go over your course selections and we finalize them in PowerSchool. My door calendar looks like this, and you can see it's right on my door. Sign up for a time, again, hopefully that is during either your lunch hour, during a time when you have study hall, or before or after school. If we can avoid taking you out of class, we'd like to do that. So sign up for a time when that makes the most sense for you. We do need you to sign up by March 1st to do that finalization. Okay, March 1st is our deadline. If I have not seen you by March 1st, then I'm going to choose courses based on what you need for graduation. And again, just because you've put it in PowerSchool does not mean it's final. Okay, I need to have that face-to-face with you to make sure that we're on the same page and that you're making the right decisions in terms of your course selection. Any questions, again, contact me, send me an email, or call me at the office. Those are the information is right here on the slide. And again, good luck with your course selection process, and I'll be seeing you soon.